In this glorious region of New York, a seventh wall has been created, and this film is a glimpse into the story of that creation. It's not about a barrier wall, but one that invites us in, a true work of art. But before we get into this latest and greatest wall, let's take a look at those that came before it, guided by artist-in-residence, designer and coordinator Sue Burdick-Young. We begin at her studio in Jay, where the first wall was created.
This mural was made in 1991, my first mural, and it's dedicated to my father. And the theme is the earth, the sun, and the moon. He was the earth, the sun, and the moon to me. So, the technique is broken tile mosaic. It's just a combination of commercial and handmade tile, literally broken into pieces, and then those pieces are puzzled on a paper template. It's transferred up onto the wall. The white and the yellow are commercial, the teal, the earth, those are all handmade tile. So it was a first attempt.
Now we will travel up to the town of Peru to see the second wall.
In 2006, I was approached by Bucky Seaton, who taught here at Peru Intermediate School, to do a tile mural on the side of the building. She'd seen the one I'd done in my house and thought, she had been experienced with some mosaic, so this project came to light. And the design was done by Kathy Cantwell, who's the art teacher here at the school. These particular tiles you're looking at with the purple and the colors in the middle, those are the Native American symbols that were done by the 4th grade. Basically, the Imagine a Harmony just brings cultures from all over the world together. You see all the different flags, north, south, east, west, the world, which is the same pattern I used on my house. So we show all the different wildlife from on the different continents.
Now we proceed on to the town of Plattsburgh to the third wall.
The biggest project I've ever worked on was the one at the Clinton County Government Center, which was done in 2009, and it included every 7th grade student in Clinton County and from all 10 school districts. Basically, it's a visual timeline that shows the history throughout Clinton County. The opportunity presented itself because of the quadricentennial, which was the 400th anniversary of when Samuel D. Champlain made the voyage down the lake. There were grant monies available, and Bucky Seaton wrote the grant along with Sandra Morris, and the three of us worked on this. We visited every school district at least twice, sometimes up to 6 times with the larger school districts like Peru. This particular part shows a map of Clinton County and the settlement. This tile here represents all the women who helped the founding of the county, basically. Women were rarely mentioned in history, but our county historian asked that we do something to recognize them. And Battle of Plattsburgh scene, the tall ship, which was done in my studio, and then all the sea life, and right up until about 1880 is when the timeline ends.
Now let's travel about 40 miles south down to the town of Elizabethtown to the fourth wall. This mural was created in 2010. It's called Recycling for Our Future, Living Off the Land Lightly. It's installed in the Elizabethtown Central School down by the cafeteria. Based on a spool quilt pattern, the kids cut out 6-inch circles and decorated them with materials that typically would be thrown away, like old zippers, keys, bottle caps, all sorts of images in keeping with the recycling theme. Then, when assembling the individual spools, they naturally seem to flow together to create this wonderful tree. Now over and down to King Valley to the fifth wall.
This mural is called A Sense of Place, and it's installed on the King Valley Central School. We did it in 2011, and it included every student in the school made tile, even the teachers, even some of the school board members made tiles for this. And it features all things North Country here. We've got the lake, a guide boat, sugaring, moose, bear, different wildlife, all these cool insects. These were made by, I think that it was the elementary school did all these cool insects. And of course our towering trees, the mountains, rock climbing. Cheryl McFadden was our art teacher who asked me to come and work on this, and she fired most of the tile here.
And now back up to Plattsburgh for the sixth wall and for where our real story of the seventh wall begins.
This is the Mountain Lake Mandala. It was installed in 2015. It was part of a celebration, a year-long celebration of the Tibetan Festival of Arts and Culture. And it was sponsored by the Mountain Lake PBS. And there were roughly 300 people who worked on this.
And now on to our seventh wall.
One of the co-directors of Outside Art, Plattsburgh Public Art Project, and Julia Devine and I started the organization several years ago to help beautify downtown Plattsburgh. So when Anne from the library approached us about putting a mural on the side of the library, we thought of Sue Burdick Young because of her incredible tile design. And the wall's in good shape, we just needed to make it a little fancier. So I also thought of the tie-in with the library, the incredible art by Christopher Silas Neal that's in Kate Messner's book, Up in the Garden and Down in the Dirt, and it really lends itself to having people create bugs and dirt and leaves. So it was just the perfect mural, the perfect artist, and the perfect place to put something that ties in so well together and enhances the community. So we're so excited to be a part of it, and thrilled that Sue said yes, and that Kate said yes, and the library said yes. It just worked out fantastically.
My role in this is very much in the background. I'm more of a mural producer, so I help raise the funds to make this all happen.
I had followed the murals in the city, and when the last one was complete, I contacted Outside Art and said, if you want another wall for a mural, we have a south wall facing the Y, and it's really ugly, and we'd love to have something nice on it. And I met with Julia and Amy like that next week, and we started planning, and then Sue had this amazing mock-up, and we started cleaning out the space. We got a big dumpster, and it was a great excuse to throw stuff away. And it just sort of began, and it's been a wonderful experience.
We have, and this is what we call the marble machine room back here. This is where we have our meetings with the robotics groups. In the marble machine room, there was an 18-plus foot wall where we were able to do a full-scale cartoon drawing of the mural, and we were able to sometimes cut pieces off of it and use it as our template for creating the different sculpt. And then afterwards we would even use those pieces on the floor when it was time to actually assemble the tile. For all the different imagery in the mural, we needed a lot of different colors, all the different flowers, pinks and yellows, and we did a lot of tests. I think we tested about 85 glazes, and then we actually used roughly 50 glazes. So we had a box of just blues, a box of just pinks and reds and oranges. And so here's our the mock-up of the what we call the concept art for the mural, kind of showing the colors, basic placement of the different elements and how it might look on the wall. And we stayed fairly close to this.
So the first thing I wanted to do as an educator was be here for the community tile making, the mosaic making workshops. And that, to me, was just a wonderful experience, seeing 50, 100 people, all ages, come here and be teaching how to make a shape and how to impress upon some kind of an image onto it, and know that it's not, at this point, really not going to be in the full picture. You don't know where it's going to go, but you were part of a huge community effort.
We were blown away by the participation and the number of people that decided to take part in this mural. And it's really a testament to our community, how people like to be involved and wanted to be involved. And we had hundreds of people would return, and kids from all ages, and a lot of family members and generations that were involved in creating this. So we were thrilled with the turnout. Sue was thrilled, and so was the library. So I think it'll be nice to see kids show their kids this mural that's here forever.
These were words that the children rolled out coils of clay and put a bunch of indentations around the sides, and then we just sliced them up and turned them into tile. They were textured afterwards too. They were pressed in.
And these are leaves that young kids made. I don't know what grade they were or what class they were from.
They were like toddlers practically. They were, very young kids.
And we're just going to disperse them in through the soil. So it just shows kind of working their way down.
So here's the mortar. This is a little wet. But we literally have to put it on the wall, butter the back of the tiles, and I do sections about square foot size like this, and then get it up. Now it's so hot that it really is affecting the curing time. I have to really keep my eye on it. Can't do too much at once, can't mix up too much mortar at once. So it's over 90 right now. And I mean, you just put your hand on that wall and it's almost too hot to keep your hand on it. It's very hot. So I have to keep it wet. Now this plastic wrap on the top, we laid this down over the top of the mural, and then I can cut it into sections. Like this is the first section I put up. I can pull this off now. And once it's set, you can easily just peel this off. It's like a contact paper. So now I can go in there. The mortar is still not completely cured. It's kind of crumbly. And you can go in there and what they call point. Anything that's kind of sticking up a little bit, you can just take some tools and just knock it all off.
You did work very hard on it. I put a slug like this, but I didn't put one of those. I put a ton of ants like this.
I bet we can see
somewhere on here.
How many of you who are here today worked on the tiles for that amazing mural? How about a round of applause for all of you? Absolutely amazing. Now we are outside in the beautiful fall air, so we don't have a projector like I might if we were inside. So if there are any kids who want to come up front so you can see the pictures better, feel free to do that. We'll have story time right on the lawn here, okay? Sit. So this is the story that Amy asked me a while ago now. Do you think we could make a mural about your book Up in the Garden, Down in the Dirt? And Chronicle Books that published this book said, yeah, what a cool project. I don't know that they will have ever seen anything like this. They're going to be so excited to see the pictures. Chronicle Books is actually based out in San Francisco. And the illustrator for this book, Christopher Silas Neal, lives in Brooklyn. So I'm going to send him some pictures of the amazing, amazing mural tonight. It is gorgeous. He's going to be so excited. All right, are you ready for a story?
Yeah.
So this story that actually is published all over the country and in a bunch of other languages too. It was published in Korea and Japan, is all about an Adirondack garden, a garden here in the North Country. And it's called Up in the Garden and Down in the Dirt. And it starts on an early spring day when it's super, super cold out. Up in the garden, I stand and plan, my hands full of seeds and my head full of dreams.
So this part of the mural is kind of up on the top. There's this banner with the first line in the book that says, "Up in the garden I stand and plan, my hands full of seeds and my head full of dreams." And there was a request from Amy Guglielmo, who approached me about doing this project, to put that in here in some way. So this is roughly about 7.5 to 8 feet long, and I did the first half last week and I did the second half this week. So now it's these are pieces from the first half just to make sure it all fits together, and now I have to kind of cut it all up. So I've got made my marks here for cutting, and I finished the butterfly today. That'll be a monarch butterfly, and now I just need to, I probably should put the board down, but we'll do is go ahead and do it. Trying to do it one nice even cut. These are just here to buffer it so it won't dry too much on the edges. And then I'll finish cutting that up, and then what we have to do is, pieces are picked up, and then with a loop tool we have to carve out the backs. Just enough to, a couple purposes for this is to, one to lighten up the tile. So you can see the thickness of that. That's not too thick to fire, but it will dry more evenly with less tendency to curl if you do this. It just takes the tension off from this two surfaces. And so each piece like that needs to be cut, grooved out like that. Thank you. Oh, the rolls, I think right here. Just left this like the end roll.
So what I'm doing right now is put some thin clay on the back of these strips, and I'm attaching them to this clay panel to make chive leaves.
So what we have going on here is Jerry is making the stems, which are going over here for the sunflower we looked at earlier. It's done. You see those big leaves have been put out now also. So what do you anticipate as one of the challenges of getting this on the wall?
Well, finishing first is one of those projects that every time we think that we're getting close to going toward the finish, we always come up with something a little bit more challenging and exciting to do, but that's the fun of it, just to challenge ourselves and make the project a little bit better. I think it's one of the best that Sue has done, and I don't know, I'm sure she wouldn't give herself the credit for that, but I think she's put together a really nice mural here.
We'll shift this one that way, you shift one the other. All right. Wow. Good work, Jerry. He made it, glazed it. Because this is such a dark clay body, it acts differently with the glazes. So like typically a veining in a leaf, you might want it to highlight, look lighter toned. But because the way it breaks over this dark clay, they would always show dark. Those veins will show dark. So we have to keep that in consideration. So if you want your veining to show light, you actually have to carve in and let it so that the glaze will pool into that. So this kind of shows it like with the petals. The veining here is lighter toned because the glaze was able to just flow in. And then here on these leaves, you can see where the veining shows dark because when the glaze flowed off the top. This is what they call a breaking glaze, which means it breaks off from the high areas and kind of pools into the low areas. So all the tile that people have been glazing has been loaded into boxes. And I've got this cart that Lisa Crane brought in for me to use, and it's extremely handy. I make as probably many as 4 trips a day. So we will get as much on here as we can. I can kind of stack boxes a little bit, so we'll do that. Fortunately, there is an elevator, although we went a month without it. So we're up on the 2nd floor, need to go down to the 1st. Fortunately, there's a ramp.
Sue has about a 45-minute drive back to her studio with these items. Fortunately, she has a beautiful scenery along the way.
So here we are at Young's Gallery. I've arrived a little bit early. Sue isn't here yet, so I will try and give you a little bit of a tour of the place. This is where Sue sells her pottery and Terry sells his art creations, and some of the other local artisans as well have things here. As you can see, Sue's pottery supply is a little low right now because she's been so busy with the wall.
And now it sounds as if Sue has arrived.
This is a robin that Kit Booth made, so we'll see how that turns out. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. Hello, Sachi. The cat forgets who I am. He hasn't seen that much of me. These tiles I'm going to cut on the wet saw and make into little slivers and pieces for fitting in the puzzle. Tiles that have authors' names, and some of the people who have the Booth family have helped so much. I did a tile for them, and then these are local authors and the book titles. So these need to get bits fired and glazed. They go up in the tree. Set those there for now, and I am immediately going to load a kiln. Here's the big kiln where most of the firing goes on. This is cone 4, cone 5, cone 6. During the firing, they melt. And this is typically what happens. So this is the melted one. Cone 4 goes first, then cone 5, and then when cone 6 touches down, you know you're done. So that's what I literally line that cone pad up behind the peephole. I can look in there and see it during the firing. Then I know, yeah, it's firing okay. We're getting to the temperature we need to get to. So that one's ready to go. I'm gonna just start laying these tiles in. And it's like another big puzzle put together every time you load it. So I've got one layer down, and I'm ready to put the shelves on top. So I'm just going to grab a shelf now. These are a refractory type shelf, ceramic, kind of heavy, and you just line them up. This is on three posts. These are all 6-inch posts. So there's 3 shelves. There's a it takes about almost 15 hours for this to fire because there's going to be so many layers in it. It's a lot of thermal mass to heat it up with all the shelves and everything. So it's going to take about 15 hours or possibly more to fire it. So I'll turn it on as soon as I can. Like I'm hoping to turn it on by 8:30, and then tomorrow around noonish it'll be done.
Once all the foliage is done, I'll show you
then the background gets filled in, and that's this piece right here. See?
Okay, Kit is putting the final touches, and he'll tell us a little bit about
On
that.
a gray squirrel, I think it's going to be. It may be a red squirrel, but it doesn't make any difference. It's going to be painted one color or another. So I'm just putting the hair on it now.
Isn't that
And
amazing?
it's a little bit wet, so I'll have to let it dry a little more and then sweep off those extra little bumps.
Okay, well, let us see how you put those hairs on.
Well, I've got this little stylus that I use here, and it's just very short strokes in this area because this hair is very short. But you do have to know which direction it goes in. And generally it goes this way around the head and down the body this way, and then the tail gets swooped around. So actually I've carved quite a few squirrels, and I do the detail in wood, so I have a little bit of an idea of what's right here. My idea is 3 little birds in the nest like this, kind of, and then somewhere over here is going to be the mother robin. It's a great feeling to see it actually in place, and it shines. I mean, it looks very bright, and I think that's great.
How beautiful this looks.
You'll wonder if this will really make sense, but Sue was showing me when you put the plastic on the tile, and then she put blue lines, so she puts key marks, so when you carry out the tiles with the plastic, it helps line up where the other tiles are going to go. So it's important that you kind of have these key marks or these lines that come off of it. And the way she also talked about laying out the plastic is when you go to cut and decide how much you bring out is you think of how when you put cement on the wall with a trowel, you make this kind of circular motion. So you kind of want to create this arc when you cut it. And what we have here is we have a plaster mold. And I'm not sure who made the plaster mold, but this person actually took clay and actually made the design. And then what we did is we poured plaster over it. And then this allows us to take imprints, relief molds of it. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking a whole bunch of parts here, and then I will get it ready. And using these pictures of how to, looking at different ways that it's represented in nature with the pods, with it open. So I have these as references. And then once I get now that I've made my parts, I'm going to take a piece of clay. It'll probably be about this big, and then I'll make my stem, and then I will come in here and start to arrange these in how I want it to look. Make sure that it is adhered itself to the slab of clay that's here. I kind of mapped it out. I laid it out where I think I would like things to go. So tell us, how does it feel to be putting this on the wall now that you were in the initial stages of the mud with it? It's very exciting, and I'm very happy with the results.
Of the tile coming down from the room. We're going to install it today.
Yes, we are on our way.
This is an exciting day because they will be installing the final tiles. It's all coming together perfectly, and after today all that's left to do is the hanging of the cloud and also the installing of the rain machine, which may need to wait until next spring. So let's enjoy these final moments of the installation.
Yeah, that looks right. Yeah, like this? That plain tile, yeah, goes in that little look. Yeah. Oh my God. So this is the line.
I don't know if we have.
Rotate it. Yeah, rotate it this way.
The bottom did not look right. You don't want this tile hanging off here?
No.
Okay. Now, Kim, you're going to get a little closer. And as soon as you
Today is the formal unveiling of the clay tile mural, and it seems like it's been going on forever. I think we started in February, but it's amazing. I mean, it's just, I say to people it's probably one of the most rewarding and wonderful experiences in my library career, and which is crazy, but So it's beautiful, it's everything and more, and it's going to be sad to see the artists go because they have just brought this joy to the library.
There were roughly, I think, 250 volunteers who came to the workshops that we had. Thank you so much. Many of these kids that were sitting here participated. I just see so many of you who came to the workshops, but there were roughly 23 artisans who were specifically very involved in this. And I've got to make a shout out to all of them. So just bear with me. Thank you so much. Okay, so Kim Mazer and Jerry Sequin, they were my number ones. Yeah, please give them a round of applause. They were my go-to if I had questions about design and whatnot. They were my go-tos. Early on, Jerry and Carol Hoffman, they helped build this amazing trap table that was a big part of doing the sculptures. Nancy Armitage, my sister Jan Dodds, my brother-in-law Bob Dodds, my daughters CJ, Jody Nebsnick and her daughter Lydia, I see them here, Tammy Forget, Louise Patinelli, Susan Kovanik, Allison Arnold, Lydia Gagne, Lisa Crane. She brought the fun factor way up when she came in. Sally Booth, Kit Booth, two very skilled artisans, loved having them. Susan Willnus, she's documenting this whole process. Judy Guglielmo, she gave us a nice kickstart at the beginning and she helped a lot. Jackie Sabrin, Ellen O'Hara, Kathy Kelly, and just recently, a new member of our clay art team, Mark Provost. Without him and Susan and Kim and Lisa, the thing that we're going to show you a little later never would have happened. Never would have gotten on the wall today. So I have to big, huge shout out to Justin Collins and Nate Horn, but especially Justin. He designed, there you are, buddy, I saw it. He designed the elements. He 3D printed all the elements for this marble machine that we're working on. He's been fantastic. Immensely patient with somebody who does not know the jargon, but it's been a pleasure working him. He's been extremely generous. Thank you, Darlene and Dave, thank you too. And then Nate Horn, he also helped. He cut some of the parts for us. And now I have to make a really huge thank you to Anne B. LaChapelle. Thank you. Where's Jerry? Right here. Come on up here, please. Thank you so much. Anne has been a huge champion of this project. She, has always huge support, never put the pressure on. It was just a pleasure the whole time, and I'm so grateful to you. Thank you. And try. Okay.
First of all, the art is so beautiful. I think that speaks for itself, and the inspiration from all the people that came together to do this. But I think it's going to inspire a lot of other community creativity. We would like to take the area down by the lake and the river, down where the sewage treatment plant is, and start to really celebrate the water cycle down there as well. Steve and I were talking about this the other day, recognizing that everything is interconnected. So if we could have your help in creating a living exhibit down there and understanding how life reads life, I think this is the first step in all kinds of exhibits all around the downtown of this sort. So thank you for taking so many first steps for us and creating such a beautiful community asset.
Thank you.
Do a little explanation. There is a second part to this mural that is not installed yet, and it is a marble machine. Now, we've got this first part, where this is the lift. It's the stem of one of those sunflowers, and eventually at the top of that, there's going to be a wheel that is out and kind of in front of the very top. So after the ball lifts, it goes into the wheel goes up, and then there's a tube that goes into this cloud. And you're going to notice at the bottom of the cloud, there's 4 holes. So it'll drop out of the cloud. There'll be another kind of what I call the rain box, where they'll fall into that. There'll be tubing. See this channel that runs through there? There'll be tubing here. The tubing's going to run all the way down here. This dent in the carrots, there's a reason for that. The tube will run here, and this will be here. Now this will be up higher when we do the final installation in the spring with everything. But right now we're going to show you how this works. Now right now they're going to pop out of the top. We're going to catch them. But when in the real deal, they'll continue on their path. So are we ready? All right, I'm going to plug it in. All right. Now don't stand too close. All right, you ready? Okay. You ready to catch it? I'm ready to catch it. I want to catch it. What a summer this has been. It's leaving me breathless. New friends and artist collaborations. Hugs, kisses, and tears. Coming down from the mountain always leaves you wanting for that exhilaration and camaraderie, the nakedness of improvisation and letting people see you at your most exposed, at who you are or want to be. Maybe that's why we do it. I wound down by memorizing poetry and sorting out my studio, wanting to focus as intently as I did on that script, figuring out what direction I want to take myself, time and work. It's so enjoyable to make that a priority in one's life. Getting lost in the memory of a summer gone too quickly, of friends that were so close at the end that they felt like family, like we should all go home together and enjoy meals and thoughts in this glorious season, because we have done this together.
I'm so proud of it, to be part of it.
This was one of our 2017 decentralization grant projects. It was one of the highest scoring projects. I don't make decisions. A panel of 8 from 4 counties, Clinton, Essex, Franklin, and Hamilton, make those funding decisions. And I'm so glad they did, because this is an amazing project, one of the most amazing ones that we've funded in my history, 4 to 5 year history of grant funding. And it really involved a huge segment of the community, not just Plattsburgh. I came one day when tiles were being made, and there were people of all ages, from toddlers to grandparents, from several counties. I recognized people from Jay, where I live, there with their children making tiles. And it was an amazing event, and that went on for several days.
Amazing craftsmanship. It really, every part of it is put together like meticulously and carefully and made to last forever.
It's spectacular.
I love it.
I think his beats are just wonderful. Very true to beats.
Like, the wall used to be so boring, but like now since they added like this to it, it's very, very pretty and colorful.
I think there's so many wonderful little details. It's like going into a real garden. First you see some plants, and you see some great looking weeds, all the little bugs. It's beautiful.
The monarchs are awesome. I think it's wonderful. I'm glad we have it.
It's beautiful.
That's a wonderful job.
I really like the sunflower though.
There's so much detail, just being finding more and more stuff.
I'm impressed. I'm super impressed.
I think this looks pretty neat.
What? It blows my mind.
Looks perfect.
So we just finished the ribbon cutting for this, the dedication for this mural, and what a fun project it's been. I've had the best part for me is that I got to meet Sue. And the next best part is that I got to spend 15 weeks working on an art project with both my parents, 3 days a week on the second floor of the library during the summer. I learned more about how to teach people how to do things and how to work with clay and how to have joy. It was really a fun project, and I wouldn't have come to the library. I wouldn't have come into town. I wouldn't wouldn't have done this project if it hadn't been for such a wonderful group of kind and loving and creative and interesting people. Sue calls it our merry band, and it really is a merry band. And we've offered each other such great guidance and artistic support and camaraderie, and we give each other a hard time. It's just been a wonderful project. And my parents and I both told her, the next crazy idea you have, we're on board.
I think the project in general has turned out even greater than anybody expected, and certainly better than I expected. Artists quite often work in isolation, and it's nice to have projects like this to showcase your work and to also be involved with other artists. And the end result was just fabulous, way beyond anybody's expectations, I know.